Day 184. If you started with us on day one on the 15th of April, today is exactly 6 months. 6 months that we have been reading together, that we have been developing discipline together, that we have been discovering the joy of regular Bible reading. Perhaps you joined at some part through the journey, and we are just so glad that you are on this train with us as we are continuing to read the 260 chapters of the New Testament by the end of this year. 1 Thessalonians chapter 2. Paul here recounts his visit to Thessalonica, and they'd arrived, and it's interesting in 1 Thessalonians specifically, there's a lot of we. Most of the time when Paul writes, he's writing I, he's sort of bringing his apostolic authority. Here he's emphasizing there was a team of them ministering together, and he's representing the heart of this team that had been in Thessalonica previously. And they'd arrived there just after a really hard time in Philippi, where they were arrested, they were beaten, and now they arrived here in Thessalonica, and he just contends that their ministry there, even if it was short, was really fruitful. And the evidence of the fruitfulness is the fact that there is now a church in Thessalonica. They were ministering with the purest of hearts. God witnessed that the only one who can truly judge our hearts and rightly judge our hearts is God. Paul and his team, all they wanted for this church at Thessalonica was the best. And the best for them is to walk in a manner that is worthy of God. And this church has been doing it. They've even embraced suffering, just like the church in Judea, Jerusalem and the churches around there. They were the first churches, and they had been persecuted and suffered a lot. In the same way, this church in Thessalonica embraces suffering. They realize suffering is part of their walk with Christ. Paul here also mentions the reality of satanic opposition to ministry. Paul wants to come back. He wanted a number of times to come and visit his friends, his disciples here in Thessalonica, but he can't because Satan hindered, Satan prevented him. And that's one of the reasons why it's so important that we pray for the advancement of the kingdom, because there is a spiritual battle, a very real spiritual battle for the souls of people. And then Paul ends by saying that when Jesus returns, because he will return, and that's a theme through 1 Thessalonians, Jesus will return. Paul and his team, they will boast. They will be able to point in the healthiest of ways to Thessalonica, to the church in Thessalonica, and take pride in what God has established through them in that city.